When you think about SpaceX and their crazy big plans for Mars, your mind probably goes right to Starbase, right? That sci-fi looking city popping up on the Texas coast. And yeah, that's the home of Starship, it's the face of the whole mission. But what if I told you that almost 400 miles away, there's this much older, much grittier place that's been the thundering, beating heart behind every single thing SpaceX has ever launched? So let's pull back the curtain on the real engine room of SpaceX's dreams. So you gotta ask, right? If Starbase is the flashy main stage, where's all the real hard work getting done? Where are these incredible engines actually born, pushed to their limits, and, frankly, blown up over and over again? Well, the answer might surprise you, and its story is one of the coolest in all of aerospace. Get a load of this, the McGregor Testing Facility. Today, it's where the most advanced rocket engines on Earth are put through their paces. But 80 years ago, this place was the Bluebonnet Ordnance Plant, a massive factory just churning out thousands upon thousands of bombs for World War II. This place literally has a history written in explosions. To really get why McGregor is so absolutely critical for SpaceX, we first have to rewind and look at its amazing past. Seriously, this one patch of land in central Texas has been right at the center of American power and space ambition for decades, way before a Falcon 9 ever even dreamed of flying. Okay, so check out this resume. It kicks off in 1941 as a bomb factory. But then, fast forward to the 50s, and it's testing engines for the Apollo moon missions with Rocketdyne. Then, after a stop with another early private space company, SpaceX rolls in back in 2003 to start testing their workhorse Merlin engine. You could say this place has rocket fuel in its soil. And this legacy proves that McGregor was always meant for big, powerful things. I mean, even before SpaceX got there, a company called Beale Aerospace was testing its BA-2 engine right here, and that was the biggest rocket engine built since the absolute monsters that were the F-1s on the Saturn V. The stage was already set for something huge. All right, so when SpaceX took over, they weren't just thinking about how to get up into space, they were obsessed with a much harder problem: how to get back down, in one piece. And McGregor became the laboratory where they would basically invent the one piece of tech that completely flipped the space industry on its head: vertical landing. And they did it with this kind of funny-looking rocket they called Grasshopper. The very first flight in 2012, it was just a tiny little hop, but it worked. And from there, they just kept at it, flight after flight, pushing it higher and higher, and famously scaring the heck out of some local cows in the process. It was the step-by-step patient testing at McGregor that proved reusable rockets weren't just science fiction. Now, to chase these giant ambitions, the place itself had to get bigger. SpaceX blew the site up from its original 256 acres to over 4,000. This massive expansion gave them the room they needed for what was basically a giant playground for radical experiments, a place that's all guided by one core idea. And this brings us right to the heart of what makes McGregor so unique. The whole facility is built on a philosophy that sounds kind of crazy but is incredibly effective. If you want to build the best engines, you have to break them first. You know all those videos you see of engines exploding at McGregor? That's not a failure. That's a lesson. That's a data point. SpaceX intentionally pushes these engines way past what they were designed for until they fail spectacularly. Why? To find every single little weakness and engineer it out. It is literally innovation through destruction. Now, this whole blow it up on purpose thing might sound wild, but there's actually a history here. Way back during the Apollo program, NASA had this terrifying problem with their massive F-1 engines called combustion instability. Basically, the fuel wouldn't burn evenly, and it created these pressure waves that were so violent they would just tear the engine apart from the inside. A true engine killer. So how in the world did NASA solve it? Well, to prove their fix would work, they did something that sounds completely insane. They literally set off small bombs inside a running F-1 engine to prove it was tough enough to handle the shock. And it worked. SpaceX is doing the same thing today, just with a modern twist. It's the same brutal, effective philosophy, just a different generation. So, all of this history, the bomb factory, the Apollo tests, the grasshopper hops, all of this explosive learning, it all leads right to today. The road to Mars, which is going to be powered by the Raptor engine, is being paved right here, forged in the fires of the McGregor test stands. And the results? I mean, they speak for themselves. Just look at the insane jump in power from the Raptor 1 to the Raptor 2 engine. That massive leap in thrust, going from 180 up to 230 tons,
while at the same time cutting the cost to build it in half? That is a direct result of thousands of tests and, yes, thousands of failures at McGregor.
The pace they're at today is just staggering. They have 5 different test stands just for Raptors, and they're running multiple tests every single day. If an engine blows up, they're often testing again on that same stand just hours later. And now they're building a new factory right there on site to pump out 2 to 4 Raptor engines a day. Their goal is to build almost 1,000 engines a year. McGregor is the absolute heart of the Starship program. So why does all this matter? Well, it's just this perfect full circle story, isn't it? A facility that started its life making things that go boom for a world war is now, 80 years later, creating more explosions than ever before. But this time, it's not about destruction. It's about discovery. It's about pushing all of us toward another world.